Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are just viewing my very first video. And right now, I'm gonna be doing a track versus track video. When this was recommended by Garrett from Soundlab Studios, and it's to be a certain album he picked, "The Long Run" by the Eagles, versus any album my choice. And well, I saw that there's 10 tracks on the Long Run, and I noticed that this has 10 tracks, and I'm like, that works out, and works out that way, and just 1 second. I'm gonna have to look up when each side ends for the Eagles album because I haven't listened to Eagles in a very long time. Well, going by memory, and I have very fond memories of a bunch of songs off of the Long Run, so it won't be too bad. Hold on just 1 second. Okay, so works out. Both start with 5 tracks, and then one ends on 5 tracks with the sides. And I'm very excited for this. Track number 1 on the Long Run is the Long Run, and the first track on the Steely Dan album, Do It Again. Wow, both very strong openers, but come on, Do It Again. Very great song. I'm gonna have to pick Do It Again. So that's one for Steely Dan. Uh, I can't tell you why versus Dirty Work. Another kind of easy answer to that. Dirty Work, much better. I like it better. Um, In the City versus Kings. First point to the Eagles. Much prefer In the City. The Disco Strangler versus Midnight Cruiser. Come on. Obviously, Steely Dan's going to win this one. If you saw my video on Garrett's channel ranking the Steely Dan, well, not ranking, doing the top 10 Steely Dan songs, I picked Midnight Cruiser as my absolute favorite Steely Dan track. So yeah, that one's easy for me. Midnight Cruiser. King of Hollywood versus Only a Fool Would Say That. Wow. Now we actually reach our first hard one. I have to go with Only a Fool Would Say That. Man, Steely Dan is kicking butt right now. 4-1. Heartache Tonight on the Long Run album versus Reeling in the Years. Reeling in the Years, obviously. That was so much better, in my opinion. Fire in the Hole versus Those Shoes. Both pretty good tracks. I'm gonna pick Those Shoes. Second point for Steely Dan. Brooklyn owes the Charmer Under Me, the Steely Dan track, versus Teenage Jail. Hmm. I'm gonna go with the Steely Dan album. Man, really better. Much better in my opinion. Um, the Greeks Don't Want No Freaks by the Eagles versus Change of the Guard. Wow. Both amazing tracks. I guess I'll go with the Eagles on that one though, but by this much though. Um, Turn That Heartbeat Over Again by the Eagles versus The Sad Cafe. Both pretty good ways to end off the album. I'm gonna have to pick the the not Eagles, the Steely Dan track. Yeah. So if my math is right, it's 7-3. This album crushed, absolutely crushed the Eagles album, but that doesn't mean I don't like the Eagles album. It just means I just prefer the other one in terms of track versus track. Interesting battle. Thank you, Garrett, for giving me that. Great idea. Speaking of which, since I'm on the topic of doing a track versus track video, I might as well just do one more. This will be kind of a bonus for whoever watches my video. You get two track versus track videos in one. It's not going to be in the title because no, it could be like a little bonus. I just got a viewer. Well, the track versus track video is already over, but it's just kind of like a bonus track versus track. Who's Next by The Who versus Hotel California by the Eagles. Both have 9 tracks. Both their timeless classics in each of their discographies. And yeah, I'm excited. Side one track one opens up with who's Bob O'Reilly, or as many people recognize it as Teenage Wasteland, versus Hotel California. Both very famous tracks. Both very, very famous. Wow. Which very hard. Very, very hard. I'm going to go with Bob O'Reilly, Teenage Wasteland. Okay, I'd probably say Who's Next will win. That's not a bad guess. Yeah, I just happen to like Bob O'Reilly better. Yeah, two iconic openers, Bob O'Reilly versus Hotel California. And I'm only picking Bob O'Reilly just by this much, just very, very slightly. Very, very slightly. Bargain versus The New Kid in Town. Both again, both very, very classic songs by each band, by both respecting bands. I have to go with The Kid Next Door, though. I just slightly prefer The Kid Next Door. Love Ain't for Keeping versus Life in the Fast Lane. Okay. Both bringing the heat. Life in the Fast Lane. Again, just by a hair. Just by a teeny bit. Just a hair. I love Love Ain't for Keeping, but Life in the Fast Lane just slightly better. My Wife versus Wasted Time. Wow. Wow. Got one of Entwistle's best lead vocals / written songs versus a masterpiece of a closer to side one. This is difficult. So some people might be like, "Oh, that's easy, My Wife," or some people might be like, "Oh, it's easy, waste of time." My wife beats it just by a hair. Wasted Time reprise versus This Song Is Over. Okay, this is the first really easy one for me. The Song Is Over. Duh, obviously. And that breaks the tiebreaker because it was 2-2. Way, way better than the reprise. It's just a minute of orchestration. Victim of Love versus Getting in Tune. That. Ooh. I love both tracks. Both tracks are so good. Man. Getting in Tune. Just barely. Just teensy bit better. Just a teensy bit better. Pretty Maids all in a row versus Going Mobile. This one's easy. Pretty Maids all in a row. Yeah, I don't really like going mobile. That to me that was always one of the lesser Who songs. I've never been the biggest fan of that track. And it's never grown on me over time either. It's always to me a really weak song of theirs. Well, you may have missed that, but you're in the middle of a great track versus track. You missed that, but you're in the middle of a great track versus track. Who's Next versus Hotel California. Yeah. And I just said Pretty Maids all in a row is much better than Going Mobile because that track, Going Mobile, was to me was always one of their lesser songs. Try and Love Again versus Behind Blue Eyes. Wow. It's just these songs, man, just you can't make them up. These legendary albums just have amazing tracks. Yeah. Great Joe Walsh song. Big fan of his music. Man, Behind Blue Eyes versus some people might be like Doy Behind Blue Eyes. Even Jason said it, Behind Blue Eyes. Yeah, some people might be like that, but for me, this is actually kind of tough because amazing track. Just a speck better than Behind Blue Eyes. I know I'm not getting any love for saying that anytime soon, but man, that was tough. Now you get the closers. The Last Resort versus Won't Get Fooled Again. Come on. Man, they're tied right now, I think, too. Both albums are tied. And, man. I guess Who's Next wins this battle. Man, that was tough. Yeah. New Kid in Town versus Bargain. Like, Jesus. Like, oh my goodness. Like, even picking New Kid in Town was really, really difficult. I love Bargain to death, but the only reason why I guess I'm picking New Kid in Town because it's my favorite Eagles song. Very, very difficult. But Who's Next wins just by a hair, really. 5 tracks to 4. Both amazing albums, both groundbreaking, both albums that deserve their popularity. that makes sense. Two good songs, but won't get fooled again. Yeah, it's a masterpiece. That's one of the reasons why I chose it as the winner. One must one mustn't just pick a random like two random masterpieces and just you know battle it out. But have you listened to "But Seriously, Folks" by Joe Walsh? I love that record. Amazing album by him. I'm glad you got into that record. I don't know why I didn't say anything when you showed it off on our group chat, but I like it. Believe it or not, I actually like it better than some of the Eagles albums. That's how good it is. Of course, it has the very popular song "Life is Good," or that's how you say it. I think it is "Life is Good." Yeah, life's been good. Amazing track. The whole album is really good though. The unofficial five and a half Eagles album. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I believe it or not, I actually think it's better than some Eagles albums. Finally, Fiddler and oh, I didn't know that. I mean, I mean, one could argue too that Ringo is another Beatle album because John, George, and Paul McCartney are on it. Well, not together, but they're all together. They're all on at least one track, and I always consider it to be. I always consider it to be a Beatle album, not a full on Beatle album like each of course like a full fledged Beatle album, but I always consider it to be like a mini reunion album with just Rico doing lead vocals and yeah. Um, that's all I'm thinking about right now. Yeah, no Glenn Fry though, but yeah, you kind of consider it to be an Eagles album though. But yeah, I prefer it over some Eagles albums. But who's next won that battle? And as for the first battle I did earlier or before this one, I picked "Can't Buy a Thrill," which yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's probably be my last video for today. I didn't mean to click that one, and see you guys in the next video. Next video will either be me doing an album review with Breyer or not with what's his name? Not with Jason because I think he's going out this weekend and yeah. See you guys in the next video. So long.